Order of Tuesday, June 23rd. Please join me. Oh, please do a roll call, City Clerk.
Councilmember Walsh.
Here.
Councilmember Garola.
Here.
Councilmember West.
Here.
Councilmember Edberg.
Here.
Councilmember Engstrand.
Here.
And Mayor Naklosky.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 2, approval of the minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular City Council meeting on June 9th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes pass. Approval of the minutes of the City Council work session on June 9th, 2026. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the City Council work session passes. For the minutes of the City Council work session on June 16th, before we approve those minutes, I'd like to propose an amendment as follows. I would like to change the reading to say the last paragraph. When sorted per capita, White Bear Lake's annual levy is far lower than most of the cities at 665.65, ranked number 39 of 46 cities. When sorted amongst cities that have a combination fire department staffing model, White Bear Lake's annual levy ranks the lowest price per capita when compared against other cities with the same staffing model.
Mayor,
Yes.
I would move adoption of the minutes of the work session, June 23rd, with the amendment as you just offered.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. All right, item 3, adopt the agenda. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda? Okay, I'd propose a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have an agenda. Item 4, the consent agenda. Does anyone have any changes to the consent agenda?
Move approval.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda is adopted. Item 5, visitors and presentation. Today we have the White Bear Lake Conservation District Annual Report and 2027 budget. Mr. Paranto will be presenting to us. Thank you for coming here and being here today.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Mike Paranto, and I am your representative on the White Bear Lake Conservation District. In your information packet, you should have gotten our annual report and our financial statements and our budget. And I read somewhere in the White Bear Press, I think, that you got an award for the preparation of your budget.
Yes.
Wonderful. Congratulations. I'm the treasurer for the Conservation District, and I did the budget, but I didn't get any awards. But I did reduce the budget, reduced it by
Duly noted.
$6,000. And that caused a reduction to all the communities, along with increase in interest on our CDs, and that reduction to all the communities of $8,488, and that represents a discount or a reduction for next year's assessment from the Conservation District to the City of White Bear by $4,160. So it's a happy budget, but no awards. So. Also, our annual report is in there, and we finished with all the dock permits. It takes till now to get them all in order and make everybody happy and get all the changes done on the docks and everything. And so the next thing up is our summer work, and that starts this Thursday, the 25th. And I'll be going with Blue Water Science to do a lake survey for Eurasian water milfoil. Now, we'll hit about 400 GPS sites on that survey, and we'll go to every place we've ever found milfoil before. And then I've been out scouting on my own to see if there's any new areas. I haven't found any, which is good, but I think that it only grows in certain conditions, and I think we've covered all those conditions on the lake, and we visit them when we do the survey. Last year we treated 30.8 acres, which is about average. When we go out Thursday, after that we'll find out how many acres need to be treated. I will get a DNR permit. I've already had the applicator approved. We will schedule a treatment. It will happen probably, it will be after the 4th of July. By the time that we get the survey done, the bookwork done, run the permit through, all that other stuff, it gets really close to the 4th of July, and to go out earlier than that kind of diminishes the effect of the treatment. It goes into a water column, so they treat big water columns like this where it is, they just don't. It's a pipe that goes down and spreads out, and then the chemical comes out in that area. And prior to the 4th, the lake is really busy. On the 4th, the lake is super busy, so that disturbs the water column. So we wait till after the 4th, and then we get a better treatment that way. So shortly after the 4th. And then after 2 to 3 weeks, we go back and take a look and see how effective it is, if anything needs to be retreated. And we've been pretty fortunate where we haven't had to retreat anything just once or twice. All during the summer, we're doing surveys for starry stonewort, an invasive weed that we don't want to have anything to do with. It's terrible. It grows fast. It blocks things out, and we don't want anything. We don't have any. Over 95% of the lakes that have it, it was initially found at the boat launches. So our surveys, we survey every month the boat launches and go out from there. And if we don't find anything there, then, we'll stay away. We won't have to do anything. Also, during the Eurasian water milfoil survey, when we go all over the lake, we also look for starry stonewort. And we have another, I don't know if it's an invasive or not, we have curly pondweed, which bald eagle treats for. They just have a terrible infection. We have curly pondweed, but it's not a problem. There's not enough of it. After the 4th of July, it starts to die down anyhow, so not an issue. In the fall, then, once that's the summer, most of the summer is gone. In the fall, August, September, we do another survey. I go out with University of Minnesota. We partner with them. They have the technical expertise to identify a plant called Phragmites. It's a bamboo-type plant that grows in the bulrushes and the reeds and outgrows it and grows much taller, and it's an invasive. We don't have much of it, but we partner with the university and their Phragmites department and team. The partnership is they send the experts out and we use my pontoon. So that's, it seems fair to me. We get a free survey. Then what we find, and generally it's been there's just little sites here and there. 3 or 4 plants here, half a dozen plants over there, nothing big, but you hit it, and we've been able to eradicate them, but those darn things find a way to come up somewhere else, so we just keep at them. But it's the whole group together is well under 2 acres, so it's not much at all. But again, we get the DNR permit, we get the approved applicator, we treat for it, and then go back next year and see how good the treatment was and eradicate it. Hopefully, one of these days we'll get it all. Also in your information, there was talk about the Water Patrol and what they do. 2025, last summer, they spent 388 hours on the lake patrolling, which is a lot. And this year, they're booked to do the same, and they have the ability to do a few more if they want. During that time, they did 108 boat safety checks. They did 22 assisting boaters. They did 7 written citations and no BWIs, fortunately. They did 10 written warnings. They did 100 verbal warnings. They did 6 towing in boats. So the Water Patrol now is all set for the 4th of July to be out there during the fireworks. Fireworks Committee has their permit from the Conservation District, so everything's in place. So I encourage you to find a nice, warm spot to watch a really good show on the 4th of July. So any questions on anything? He said he wasn't going to ask a question, but he'd like to.
Councilmember Edberg.
Mayor, I'm not going to ask a question.
I will offer you a verbal commendation. I really appreciate your report. I appreciate the work that went into the budget. I certainly appreciate the growth in interest payments or interest earnings that have come during your term as treasurer. And just plain appreciate the work that you are doing and the presentation that you've given us tonight. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Almost makes it worthwhile. No, thank you, sincerely. Anything else? Mary?
I do have a question. So I was just looking at the different amounts that the cities pay
Yeah.
to be on the commission. And so I was just wondering how that is figured out. And I see it in here, but the formula for that on how we're, charged versus how Matamidi is charged or Birchwood is charged.
Right.
And along with that, it seems like we have the highest one. So I'm assuming that's some type of lake frontage. And if there's a reason why we,
You pay the most because you have the highest tax capacity,
okay,
but per person you pay the least because you have more citizens.
okay.
So you
So
pay
that's how that's figured out.
basically 79 cents a resident, all residents. And Delwood pays $2.48 per resident,
Okay.
neither of which is very much, but in comparison. So
And do you feel like you're happy with our representation on the commission as far as, I know there's 2 per each, so Delwood would have 2, we have 2, Birchwood has 2.
we have a new representative, and I'm very happy with that, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I served with his, I served with his dad on the Conservation District at one time, too, so.
right.
But he's learning, he's coming along, he really wants to learn, he's interested in the lake, and that's the most important thing.
Right.
Yeah, so,
And you don't feel that White Bear Lake would need 3 representatives because
Pardon me?
of the size? You don't feel like White Bear Lake would maybe need 3 representatives because of the size?
if you want to go to the legislature and get that through, I'd be for it.
Okay.
But good luck.
Yeah, so I was just wondering about your opinion on that.
Yeah.
So it's a legislative
I
thing?
mean, you could argue that very easily, but it would have to change our legislation that created us,
Okay,
so.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Councilmember
I
Edberg.
do have a question on a different topic. I monitor your minutes, and I notice my perception is that there's been a shift in attention on individual dock permitting, that system has become more organized, more structured. Timelines seem to be in somewhat more organized fashion than it was years ago. I could be wrong on that. But what's your perception on how we're doing with resolving all of those thorny little neighbor-to-neighbor, neighborhood-to-neighborhood conversations about docks and access and all of that kind of stuff?
Well, you have to realize when people talk about Lakeshore, they get a little crazy. So when we have somebody on our dock committee who can handle that and understand it and does a really good job in settling things down and kind of laying out the law, things go a lot smoother, and that's what you're seeing.
Okay. Aside from our environmental issues, water quality, invasive species, et cetera, what's the biggest single issue that you see in our future or in our kind of near future for the Lake Conservation District? What are the things that operationally, functionally, whatever, that that you think about?
Well, you should think to the future. We are escrowing money for a lake management plan. We just finished the lake use study. Hopefully you made the presentation in January when we rolled it all out. So in the lake management would look forward, look into the future for those types of things. It's so many things we have to react on. We're reactionary. It's hard to plan ahead for how many docks you're going to have or how many boats people are going to have on a dock or how much milfoil we're going to have other than setting aside money to treat it and take care of it. And we're able to do that. We have a reserve that keeps us, we're not afraid of it. Starry Stormwater I'm afraid of, because that takes a lot more money to get rid of. And so, we're not in bad shape. We're handling everything that's coming along. Everybody has their opinion, but one of our former board members, who's now gone, used to always say, keep the peace. Just keep the peace. You'll be doing a good job if everyone's happy. And so, naturally, not everyone's always happy, but we do a pretty good job on keeping the peace recently. We have a good board.
Thank you.
Immediately, for the future, just keep our head down and keep going.
Okay. Thank you.
We just want people to enjoy the lake and keep it clean and fresh and safe.
Yeah, Ms. Crawford? Oh, did you have something? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple things for Mr. Peranto. The first one is city staff get regular complaints about, jet ski rentals on White Bear Lake. And we try to combat that when we can, when it's, operating out of city property. But if it's off of Ramsey County property, we don't have much, the city doesn't have much, weight there. Are there any approvals needed from those private rental companies from the Conservation District?
Well, if they are renting on land, and I know Ramsey County does not allow that on their beach at all, and hopefully you don't allow it at Mataska.
We don't.
Good. Then if they're renting it at a sporting goods store in St. Paul or something, there's really nothing you can do about it. But they should have a sheriff sticker on it. And anybody who is in the rental business needs to have that for any watercraft they rent, whether it's a pontoon or anything. And if they have that, that means that they've passed all the tests and all the requirements to be safe.
I think that's more
We
for
don't have any
the
rules.
equipment, not
Pardon?
I think that's more for the equipment from
Yeah.
the sheriff's office, not the usage. And the complaints that we receive are, there are people out here on watercrafts that don't know how to drive them, or they're dangerous, or they're zooming everywhere and they're not following lake rules.
Right.
But we don't have any authority, whether it's law enforcement or, governing these things. So I was wondering if you do.
We have an ordinance against not safe behavior or erratic driving. We have an ordinance against that.
Okay.
I forget the ordinance number now, and I don't have my book with me.
That's okay.
But it's there. And people under 21, I think, this year have to have a boat driver's license. And next year, anybody born after 1987 has to have a boat driver's license. So it's getting cracked down on. And anybody driving erratically should be turned in. And we have, like I say, we have an ordinance against it, but the sheriff would be glad to, confiscate things if they're old enough to and give them a ticket.
Okay.
So there are things in place. Enforcement can always be better. But we have if you're driving erratically and that type of thing, we have an ordinance against doing that. And again, the boat driver license, and then the sticker from the sheriff that the boat is qualified to be on the water, and then the operator have to control the operator somehow. Is that kind of what you're thinking, or you mean?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really the operation piece.
So,
Yes.
because we have people ask, and I'm glad that you say you don't allow it. You don't allow rentals out of your parking lot.
Right.
Because, people will come down, and I know in the past they've had trailers full of kayaks. And now there's jet skis and that type of thing. And the other thing we have are people on the lake are renting their boats out. And so when we hear of that, then they have to also go through all the procedures of have a sticker, make sure that the driver's licensed, all that kind of stuff. And so it's something new that's being, information is the best weapon. And we're talking about it. We buy a couple of pages in the Laker newspaper that goes to lake residents and others that are interested. And we're putting that type of information in it also.
Excellent.
And then one other thing, your administrator, Sherry Howe, is retiring soon, and I know you've hired someone else. I met them today. Sherry walked them around, but Sherry, I just wanted to say, has done a great job for you guys, and she's been lovely to work with, so I'm going to miss her.
Thank you. I like the lake.
Yeah. Councilmember Edberg.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Pronto, you caused me to think of, you mentioned citizens on the lake are renting out their boats now, which strikes me as a relatively new, recent phenomenon. We had a conversation at this table some months ago about short-term housing rentals, and having concerns about folks partying a little too hardy. And is your observation about folks renting out boats, is that connected in any meaningful way to short-term rentals, or is it citizens who live on the lake and just saying, hey, I've got a dock and a boat, here it is, you can use it for X, whatever? Or is it mostly contained to this rental aspect or something else?
I think it's a rental aspect, and it's not necessarily somebody living on the lake, but they keep their boat on the lake, whether they're renting a space or they keep it at a friend's dock, and they'll rent it out. I know of a pontoon that's kept at somebody's dock, and he puts the dock in for the person and puts his boat lift in and everything, and then he keeps his pontoon there and he rents it out.
Huh.
We're not in favor of that.
All
But
right.
he will learn that he needs to get the sticker from the sheriff if he's going to do it. And there's a number of other things, and he has to, again, have a driver's license type thing, or anybody he rents to has to. And we're kind of, we'd like to get a handle on it, but it's hard to detect, and it's not a big problem, but it's happening. It's kind of like your people renting lake homes out. Mm-hmm. And you were looking at that too, and they said, we're on the same page on that, but what do you do? Maybe you've already have passed some rules and regulations. Yeah. So we're thinking the same, like you are about it. What are you going to do? Is it fair? Is it a problem? Is it really a problem? So far, it's just been something that we don't think is right, but it hasn't been a problem. But it could be very quickly.
Right.
And a lot of people are switching over to what's called Your Boat Club, where they buy a membership and then they just sign up for a time to take a boat out. That seems to be working very well, because those the owners of the boat club, or the people that work there, really check the people out, and they give them a map where they can go and where the rocks are, and they just kind of run them through stuff, and so that's good. So maybe that'll help deter people from trying to be in the rental business.
Okay, any other questions? Well, I just want to thank you for volunteering your time and all the work you do to keep our lake. It's our most precious resource, and thank you for being on it. And I feel like you put
Thank
in
you.
so much time and energy, and we just want to thank you. We all appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks for being here. All right, item 6, public hearings. There's nothing scheduled. Item 7, unfinished business, nothing scheduled. Item 8, new business. Item 8A, awarding contracts for tree removal and replacement for the Emerald Ash Borer project. Mr. Copy.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I'll go over a little bit of background on the project, just to kind of refresh everybody and those listening on TV. So Emerald Ash Borer was first discovered in the city of White Bear Lake in 2017 down by Berkeley Roads, kind of on the south side. The city had been monitoring it since it was showed up in St. Paul and some of the communities to the south. So they'd been monitoring it and showed up in 2017. The council and staff reacted 2018, a inventory of park, so active park areas, not the kind of the open, kind of the nature preserve type areas, but the active park areas and boulevards were inventoried. So we ended up with just over 1,700 boulevard trees and almost 300 park trees. I will note that since that was done, that was kind of a big picture inventory. I'll go over a little bit of that when we get to the map on the next slide, but after that inventory was done, the city decided to treat roughly 300 boulevard trees and most all of the park trees to help buffer that impact of emerald ash borer. So trying to treat them in order to hopefully save a few, or at least prolong their life in order to get caught up in the management of it. So since then, we've been kind of dabbling in it, mostly staff, some contractual removals in our parks or staff removals in parks and boulevards were needed. Then we had the opportunity to apply for a shade tree grant through the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. We were granted just shy of a $500,000 grant to do removal and replacement. So that's key in this. It is for every tree that we remove, we need to replace it in the vicinity of. So they obviously understand there's utilities, there's the old root ball from some of these trees are 2 feet in diameter bigger, so a large root ball, so within the vicinity of where that tree was removed. So going up, and this is big picture, don't try to count all the dots, but this is big picture. So each dot represents an ash tree either in a park or boulevard. Areas 3 and 4 are what we focused on, kind of the gray shaded areas, what we focused on, or that area of the city for the grant. The grant had a number of criteria that, scoring criteria that we felt those areas best met. Density, so the overall impact. There were other demographic requirements or scoring criteria. So we tried to meet those the best we could based on that data that we had for the community. So roughly, again, when we started this inventory, these are the original numbers. We had, about 700 trees that were in that area, and many of them, as we did a revised inventory last year to get ready for putting this project out for bid, found out a number of them had been removed either by homeowners, storm damage. Some of them, so the DNR is very specific that the trees that were removed are within the public right-of-way. That being said, this was this big picture inventory that was completed in 2018. A number of these, as we go out and find property irons and things as we did the inventory, found a number of them that are actually on private property, so can't qualify. They're generally a boulevard tree, but they can't qualify under the DNR grant. So we narrowed it down to about 350 to 375 trees to apply for the grant. So we took bids on the project a few weeks ago. The tree removals came in at just shy of $300,000, and the tree planting was about $125,000. So we're under that grant amount. In addition, we have about $20,000 of ineligible restoration costs going into it, knowing that we have that budgeted in our parks fund to do some of that work. So that being said, we got great bids. We estimated for the actual planting came in about where we expected, just $300 to $325 per tree. The tree removal bids came in significantly less than. We were estimating about $1,000 per tree for removal. They came in at about $750 on average, so quite a bit less. So that being said, we are short of meeting that full grant spending. So we've been working with the DNR over the last several weeks since we took bids, and they gave us the okay to go outside of those two areas. They want the money spent. They want the dollar spent in the community for that removal and replacement. So we started actually today scouting out areas. We're trying to keep it generally in that area because the contractor, that bid it, we want it in that general vicinity so that we're not sending them all over town, which theoretically could increase bid costs or the price to remove the tree. So we started that steps to look at additional areas. We have been doing communications with the residents that are affected by this, mailings, informational. We got all the trees marked over the last 2 weeks. We've had tons of staff hours out there. We are going to get a letter out this week yet to say this is your chance to review the trees marked in your yard and your area. Just make sure that we didn't mismark something. Somebody have sentimental value to a tree. So we've talked to, being out there, staff was able to talk to quite a number of the homeowners that had trees, explain to them the process. Very appreciative of the efforts that we have gone through. So that's kind of the funding. So we're looking for about another 100 trees or so to go out and tackle under this project. So more to come on that. Once we get those areas refined, I'm going to go back to the map quick. So we're going to go into kind of areas 2 and 5 south of the lake and kind of focus our efforts to get the additional trees in those areas. That being said, the project schedule, we're anticipating after award tonight that we would, the contractor, many of them we got tons of bids. So we're pretty excited that tree contractors are that excited about a project. Most contractors that we talk to do onesie-twosies for homeowners and things like that. So they really appreciated the ability to do a bigger project and focus their efforts and time in one area. So that was exciting to hear. And then we'll kind of overlap the tree removal planting. So as soon as we start getting the removals done, we can start doing the plantings, but want to do those later in the season, that September, October, to increase survival rate. Trees do have a 3-year warranty, so they will maintain them. They'll water them and stuff frequently enough to maintain them for that time frame. Yeah, so we'll do that later in the season when the temperatures are down and easier to maintain the watering. So that being said, staff would recommend that council adopt a resolution awarding a contract to Precision Landscape and Tree for tree removals in the amount of $299,941, and adopt a second resolution awarding a contract to Hoffman McNamara Nursery and Landscape for tree planting in the amount of $126,468. I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Councilmember West.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm wondering if, Mr. Coffey, if you could maybe give a little more explanation for what kind of communication people got and when they got it regarding trees that would be kind of in their boulevards, and also if there are people who think that they have trees in their boulevard that would qualify, but they weren't marked, if you could talk a little bit about what they should do about that.
Mayor, members of the council, so the communications that we had, the first communication was last fall in this spring in the city's newsletter, kind of warning folks that the project is coming. We sent out a letter before we started marking about 6 weeks ago, I guess now. So we got out and got that information to anybody that had an ash tree on that inventory. So we sent letters to everybody who could be impacted. If they had maple, other trees, we did not send those letters out to those folks, only those that had an ash tree that was identified in the boulevard or at least near the boulevard, that we would be out marking, and we gave them the time frame. We got those marked this week. We put information in that mailer, what the program was, that we would be removing and replacing the trees, kind of the requirements of the DNR grant, contact information for the engineering department to contact to provide information whether they had any concerns with the trees that were marked or unmarked. Some folks that we didn't focus our efforts on. So the city had done some treatments on some boulevard trees, but the homeowners did as well. So we did mark some trees based on health. We did go knock on a lot of doors, talk to residents that, hey, you've been treating your tree, but it's not in very good condition. A number of them said, yeah, I'm done treating. Now's the time to take it down as part of the grant. So a lot of door knocking, talking to residents as we were in the neighborhood. We've taken a lot of calls and emails based on that mailer to all of those homes. In that mailer, we said that once we are done doing the marking late June, that we'd be sending out a notice saying that we are complete and to do a final review before we actually let the contractor out to do the project.
So if somebody thought that their tree should be included in it, but it wasn't, or a tree in the boulevard or near the boulevard should have been included, do they contact the engineering department then?
Yeah, that is correct. That is what and again, each one of those homeowners received that mailer that would indicate or provide that direction to them to contact us. We've been out on a number of them where we've reviewed them both ways. Folks that thought that, hey, this is a tree, or my neighbor's tree got marked, why didn't mine? And we would go and re-review it and say, nope, it actually, once we found property owners, we found out it was a private tree. Or we said, no, it had been treated, but if you're interested in taking it down, or we can take it down as part of the project. Some have added them. Some have said, no, I've been treating it. Maybe I'm going to try to save it for a little bit yet. And we've taken some of that marking off as well.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Bergerola.
Thank you for sharing. I'm really excited about this project, and I think a lot of people in our city are too, and I know it's a competitive grant to get. About your estimate, how many trees in general in the city, you showed us all the dots, but would you say number-wise are in the right-of-ways?
Mayor, members of the council, it is, I would say the majority of them. I don't have an exact percentage because we did the broad brush inventory over the whole community back in 2018. The more detailed survey that we did last summer, last fall, got into the more specifics of it, where we started reviewing condition. We reviewed, so each of those, we went out and we surveyed them, measured diameter, height, noted condition on each one of them, took a GPS shot, and then we came back in and we analyzed where those landed. Again, some fell in, some fell out. Even as we started marking them now, we started finding property owners. We did not do that last summer with all of them with the inventory. We just GPSed the locations. But as we went out there, we found property owners. There was a few that were not on the inventory that we found, so we contacted those property owners to notify them that they also had a boulevard tree that we would like to remove, or it was treated and in very good condition. So, it's a very complex process. It seems easy, but it's very complex to figure out exactly where and how many. But there are, I'd say plus or minus 10%. If I had to take the one thing that we have noticed is that people, whether they're not reading the newsletters or things like that, quite a number of them got taken down from last fall till the spring. So over the last kind of 9 months, quite a few have been taken down as well by homeowners. Some look like they have taken them down themselves, some contractor, but that answer your question?
And can you tell me, maybe I already said this, what kind of trees you're replanting with?
Oh, you're going to quiz me on that. So I'm going to not remember all 12 of them, but a whole number of, and I'll do my best, a number of different oak trees. There's actually an American elm that's in the list, hackberry, Kentucky coffee tree, skyline honey locust,
A variety, so it's
a
not all
variety of
just
trees.
one kind of
So,
tree. That's excellent.
Great question. I can kind of elaborate a little bit on it, but so we've got this variety of trees that's approved through the DNR that is supposed to be pest resistant, so both biological as well as different bugs. That these trees have been kind of proven to be resistant to infestations. So the plan is to do a wide variety of those trees planted kind of randomly. It's not like we're going to let 10 people in a row say, oh, we all want skyline honey locust. We're going to, no, because if we run into the next skyline honey locust bug
Right.
20 years from now those are all gone. So we're trying to kind of move the different species around so that we have a variety in an area, so that we don't have any one tree that's, susceptible. The other, besides ash, the one that we cannot plant is maple trees, because following the Dutch elm disease and whatnot, maple was the other one besides ash that was planted. So we have such a high concentration of, when the DNR does canopy inventories, so their canopy inventory of White Bear Lake, we had it's like 30% or higher of maple trees in town. So again, if we get hit by a maple tree bug, that's the next one that's going to go. So we want to have a variety of trees to help sustain our tree canopy.
And thank you. Yeah, I don't know if any of you remember Dutch elm, but I remember half of St. Paul got taken out, and yeah, it was terrible. Councilmember Edberg.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Kauppi, are you able to accommodate resident requests for certain species that are on the list? In other words, do they get to have some expression of interest or expression of preference for a honey locust versus something else?
Mayor, members of the council, we are trying not to go that route, because to manage that, to try to plant 300 to 400 trees, and we have, when you look at the dozen or so varieties of trees that we have, and there's, 25 to 50 each tree, and everybody wants an oak tree, and now so we're running that risk of, having a bunch together. What we are trying to do is, as we work with the Hoffman McNamara, we'll be having their staff look at, as well as our staff look at, where's the, if there's a bunch of oak in an area, we're probably not going to plant another oak. We might plant something else to help diversify that area. They're landscapers, they're good at it, and that's what they do. So we're going to rely somewhat on what their expertise is, where to plant different species.
Mayor, just one statement. Last summer, I went out with our intern and our GIS coordinator and did some of the measurements and the heights and the walking, and I think I only did a block or two at that time, and it took several hours. So I appreciate all of staff's work on this last year, the years before, and even this year, and I'm really excited to get this going. And unfortunately, it's going to have a big impact on our neighbors, the neighborhoods, and on the tree canopy, and that's exactly why it's a good thing to diversify and not have a bunch of the same species going forward. So thanks for your work.
Exactly. Thank you so much for all this, and I'm so happy that we get to do more than we thought we were going to get to do. So that's really great news. And does anyone else have any other questions? All right. I would accept a motion to adopt the attached resolution receiving bids awarding the contract to Precision Landscape and Tree.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that motion passes. And then I would also accept a motion to the attached resolution receiving bids and awarding contracts to Hoffman and McNamara Nursery.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you so much, Mr. Coffey. All right, item 8B, strategic plan update. Ms. Crawford.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. On April 15th of this year, a few months ago, City Council and staff leadership team met in a work session for the purpose of updating our 2024 strategic plan to our 26 strategic plan. So I'm going to go over, I do have several slides to go over the report in depth. So bear with me, but the report's also in the council packet, but I do want to just spend some time going over it tonight. So at the work session, we, refreshed and revised our long-term direction. This time we worked on establishing a vision and a mission, 2 statements. And then we discussed and evaluated our current conditions, opportunities and threats, and then developed 2-year goals. So, each member of the council as well as leadership team voted on specific, priorities. And so our consultant took that and has created by vote the new goals. So there are 6 core strategies and objectives. So these are each category that we've come up with, that the group came up with, and then that Phil Kern put into the packet. So the first one is a safe and welcoming community. And then the objectives underneath that are on the screen. So there's 5 under that. It's facilitate and encourage community connections, maintain appropriate staffing levels in public safety engaging with the community, ensure public safety staff are equipped with adequate technology and equipment, and maintain a welcoming presence, a feel of welcome, all feel welcome and have opportunities to participate in a wide range of community functions. The second one is to be a historic destination and have a small town feel. And within that, maintain the downtown area without losing its historic character, preserve and improve the lake life identity of the city, engage future stakeholders and next generation of volunteer community leaders, maintain the historic character and charm, and strategically approach change with community input. And then engage community responsive leadership, forward-thinking approaches to issues, challenges, and opportunities, create engagement opportunities for all members of the community, utilize relevant communication tools to support two-way communication, identify and encourage future leaders, that's both public and private, encourage development services, ensure development services are responsive to the wants and needs of public at all stages of life, level of need and background, foster relationships, maintain civility, and expect professionalism. Complete community support opportunities to offer a full range of life cycle housing, high-quality services and amenities, retain and expand upon the resilient natural environment, partner and support thriving educational systems, create community connectivity and identity through arts and events, work to attract a diverse mix of retail and commercial, attractive, walkable, accessible districts, attract and retain employment opportunities and employers. Then responsive services and fiscal responsibility, resilient and affordable services that meet community needs, intentional focus across departments towards customer service, proactive budgeting versus reactive budgeting, maintain resources in a sustainable manner, plan for future needs and improvements, maintain per capita value to taxes collected, and communicate that to residents. And I think this is our last one. Dedication and supported, I think that should say dedicated and supported city staff. Desirable workplace environment with competitive pay and benefits. Staffing levels are appropriate for the expected level of services. Forward thinking. Encourage a collaborative environment. Retention through professional development, policies and strategic actions, and accountability to community and to each other. So those were our kind of 6 objectives, and then there are goals I'll get into later, but first gonna go into the proposed mission and vision statements that we came up with. Mr. Kern, our facilitator, landed on these based on all of our discussions. So this is the proposed vision, where lakes, connection, and small town feel create a safe, welcoming community that honors our past and is supported by exceptional services. And then for the mission, we deliver high-quality services with professionalism, fiscal responsibility, engagement, and forward-thinking leadership that values and supports our community. Then we went into high-priority goals and then opportunity goals. And so I think I have just one slide, I think, for each. And some of these are present in our 2024 strategic plan that we have carried over. But the first high priority goal is complete housing needs assessment and develop appropriate strategies for actions, including a feasibility study for a potential Pioneer Manor 2. Generate new non-property tax revenue sources with a target of at least $250,000 annually. Within that are some ideas that we came up with that night. Complete EAB, tree removal and reforestation, preferably with external funding sources. Add communications staff. Continue prioritization of redevelopment opportunities. Complete downtown street reconstruction project on time. And find and implement meaningful methods to involve youth in council and commission activities. So those would be the high priority goals that the group together identified. So those would be kind of the work plan for the next couple of years. And then if time or as time allows, opportunity goals on this next slide are continue implementation of new software and technology, including data analytics systems across all departments to increase responsiveness and efficiency. Update City Emergency Operations Center. I can tell you that's probably not going to be completed in the next 2 years. Create and hire a third mechanic position. Develop and implement strategies to encourage fire / EMTs to attend paramedic school. Update classification and compensation plan, and boost resources for employee wellness and engagement. So again, those were opportunity goals. So I think I have just 2 more slides and then we'll get to discussion, but our next step would be implementing this. So staff, if the council adopts this as is, we need to link long-term direction to short-term action plans, which is what we did last time in '24 when council adopted the strategic plan. And then I took that and I kind of dissected it into action plans, and then on a quarterly basis, department heads and I did a check-in to measure that progress and how are we progressing through the goals that we identified as a group. And then on the off years, we met with council to do a check-in. So again, next step would be to develop those action plans. A good reason to have a strategic plan is just to keep our direction, keep level-headed, and be consistent. Communication within our organization and our community. We can look to our plan to identify, if something comes forward, does this fit our strategic plan? And we've started to do that over the last couple of years, and I think we can strengthen that going forward. Again, and then just monitoring our progress. So the idea is that we go through, or council accepts this, puts it into action, staff executes that, and then in 2027, we would have a work session. The department heads and I would have a work session with the city council to check in on our progress. And then in 28, probably spring of 28, we would conduct this plan or update the plan again. So it's on an every other year basis to keep us going and hold us accountable. So I expect council to discuss the strategic plan tonight, and then I am asking that you adopt the attached resolution, adopting the strategic plan, and then directing me to develop action plans and establish benchmarks to implement that plan. So Mayor, with that, I will stand for questions. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? Comments?
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Councilmember
I don't have any
Walsh.
questions, more comments.
Okay.
I think it's really good. I thought the process was good. It looks better here than I remember. I was like, was this us? Did we do this work? It's pretty good. The vision and mission are good. We didn't quite give him a finished product, but he polished it, and I think he got it where we wanted. I like it. The only thing I'd say is just it's like a caveat, a gentle caveat as we adopt this, and I support it. there were elected officials in that room, board members, members of the council and the mayor, and then staff, and, you know, probably equal amount or maybe more staff because there was only 5 or 6 of us, right? And so it's good to have a strategic plan. It's good to have a direction. I guess my gentle caveat is, and I appreciate throughout the year, you know, seeing this back to us in a memo saying, hey, this proposal today that we're dealing with fits, you know, our strategic plan. I just gently say, you know, I reserve the right to be against it on a project-by-project basis as an elected official. So I think the planning is important. Just don't hold me to everything in here. I didn't vote for everything in here. Some of these things on here it was a good, we were putting sticky notes up there like we do, and I think it was a good process, and I was interested to see the results. There's a few in here that I'm not thrilled about, but I think overall, it reflects what happened in the room that day, and the staff input's really valuable. So that's just my little gentle caveat as we begin this process. But I do appreciate seeing that in the memos throughout the year. It's like, okay, we're going to do this. By the way, we met and planned with a clear head, with no stress, and said this was a goal. This matches that goal today. So I think that's good. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Comments or thoughts or?
If you need a move to approve, I'll do that too.
Okay. I'd consider a resolution adopting the City Council of White Bear Lake strategic plan and directing the city manager to develop the action plans and establish benchmarks for implementation.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. Motion passes. All right, moving on. Item 9, discussion. Nothing scheduled. Item 10, communications from the city manager. Ms. Crawford.
Thank you, Mayor. We are in event season every day here in White Bear Lake right now, so a whole slew of events coming up. Market Fest again this Thursday. The Farmers Market starts on Friday of this week and runs through October. It's 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Clark Avenue. And this Friday, the police department will have an event, donuts and coffee with cops at the farmers market. It's also Manitou Days still happening, so again, follow that link. But the 4th of July fireworks will happen before our meeting, our next council meeting. So wanted to be sure we talk about that. So that's at approximately 10 p.m. at Memorial Beach, but come early because we do have a band and a flyover and all these wonderful things. And then lastly, Fridays with Firefighters. The next one is July 10th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the South Fire Station again. That's the second one of 3 this summer. And then opposite City Hall, License Bureau and our non-emergency offices are closed on Friday, July 3rd to observe the holiday. And then just a reminder to council, the mayor and Councilmember West and Edberg I will be at the League of Minnesota Cities conference starting tomorrow and back late Friday afternoon. So we'll miss a few of these events, but that's what I have. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else have anything they'd like to share? I enjoyed the parade and being on the truck with all of you and getting to ring the bell. I also judged the Sandcastle contest this weekend, which was so much fun, but a little more stressful than we thought. Councilmember Gorola helped me, and it was really fun to see all the kids, but, you know, sometimes it's hard to pick because they were all really good. I also did a little talk at the boat show, which was great as well. So thanks everybody for participating in the stuff this past weekend, and please keep supporting us. Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Item 11, adjournment. I'd move to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?